Hey everyone, welcome to Delawhite's Board Games. This week we'll be talking about 8-Minute Empire, a game created by Ryan Locat. Let's bring it to the table and we'll come back for the final comments. So 8-Minute Empire. So I have a game set up here. What we see is the map, the coins, which we're going to give players depending on the amount of players. For example, a 2-player game, each player will get 14 coins. There are no way that you can gain coins during the game, so you have to be wise on how you're going to be spending these. Then you have the different blocks for the players. Each color has these small cubes that represent the army, and then you have these discs that represent the cities that you'll be able to build. Then you have the cards. The cards are actually the resources and the actions that you'll be able to buy during the game. So every card has 3 things on them. You have the resource that this action will give you. You have the action at the bottom. For example, this one gives you the opportunity to move 5 armies on the map. So basically you can move 5 armies 1 space, or you can move 1 army 5 space. You can break that down. In the middle here, it tells you how many victory points this resource will give you at the end of the game. So if during the game you collect 3 carrots, it will give you 1 victory point. But if you collect 8 of them, it will give you 5. And then you have resources that are a bit rarer. For example, the ruby, which 1 card will give you 1 point, 2 cards 2 points, up to 4 cards that will give you 5 points. And every one of these resources has different actions at the bottom. This one here is a wild card. At the end of the game, you'll be able to decide which resource that you want to put this card in. And every time that, for example, here we have 2 carrots. So this carrot here gives you the opportunity to add 3 armies to the map. But this one here is the one that makes you move the armies. So the different resources does not always give you the same actions. So before you start playing, you're going to lay out 5 cards at the top of the map. Because on the map, you have these numbers at the top. So this will tell you how much that each card will cost. And take note that this board here is 2-sided, so if you play more than 1 game, it's fun to flip this around. So basically what we have here is the top card, the first one will cost 0. The 2 second ones will cost 1, the 2 following will cost 2, and the last one will cost 3 coins. So when you play, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to buy one of these cards. So like I said, you have to be careful how you spend your coins because you're not going to be able to gain any during the game. So each player will start by putting 3 armies on the starting point of the map, where you see this little city in the middle here. So if on my first turn I decide that, let's say I want to eliminate a cube from my opponent, this card here gives me that opportunity. So the line here tells me that I can either eliminate a cube or build a city. So since I'm on the starting point, the city is not a good option for me, but to take out an army of my opponent would be a good one, and it would give me already my first tree resource. But this is in the second position, so I'm going to have to pay 1 coin to be able to take this card. And when I do so, all the other cards will shift, and I'm going to put a new card at the end here. So if you have an action that you would like to have but it costs too much, you can take a chance of waiting that it shifts down, but then you have to be careful because other players might want to get that before you. So basically, I'm going to put this on the side, and I'm going to take away one of the red cube's armies. And now it's my opponent's turn. So the game will go on like this. So now my opponent, if he looks, we just added this card here, which gives you the opportunity to either add 3 armies or move 3 armies. Now since he already lost an army, he might want to add some. And that is a card that costs 3. But here, he gets the same action, but for 2 coins. So he's going to pay 2 coins, take this card and put it on his side, and then he'll be able to add 3 armies. He has no other choice than adding them to the center of the map at the starting point because he has no cities built yet. The cities are actually a spawning point. So if later in the game, by moving his armies around, he has the opportunity to build a city, he'll be able to build it, and when he gets the opportunity to add more armies, he'll have the choice to either add them in the starting point or add them on his city. And to be able to cross to the other continents, you absolutely need to have this little symbol here. So basically, he's allowed to move his armies over sea, and that would give him the chance to start building over here. Now you're going to be scoring points at the end of the game, depending. You're going to be scoring points for every country that you control, and to control a country, for example, in the country in the center here, blue would control it because he has more cubes than red. In the case of a tie, nobody controls it, and you pass to the next one. After that, if we look, red controls this country here and controls this country here. So basically, he controls the continent because he's the one that controls the most countries in this section. That would give him also an extra point at the end of the game. And then after that, you also have to calculate the points that every of your resources gives you. And that's basically it. You count the countries, you count the continent, and you count your cards. Whoever has the most wins. It's very quick, very fun. You're just moving blocks around, taking some out from your opponents, building cities. The longest game that I've played was about maybe 15 minutes, but I had to explain the rules before playing, so it's very, very quick. So let's go back and see the final comments on that. So there you have it, a board game that plays in 8 minutes. So what I love about this game is I played this game with a lot of people who don't like war games because they're so long and they're about war. But this game is very soft, plays very quick. You forget that it's about controlling the world because basically you're moving little blocks around, taking blocks away from your opponent, and you're scoring points at the end of the game with the symbols on the cards like the little trees and the carrots and the diamonds. So you really forget that it's a war game. So if you like really quick games, you're really gonna love this one. If you're more into like long, heavy war games, this might not be for you. But if not, it's a very good game. I really recommend it. For next week, I was thinking of showing you most of my collection, pointing out a few games, and then from there, if you see any games in my collection that you would like me to review, I'd go with the most popular one for the following week. So I hope to see you there. Catch you next week.